Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Italian Tier 10 Tech Tree medium tank, the Progetto 65. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Progetto 65. It is a medium tank that I always enjoyed before 6.0 because the gun was a laser pinpoint, which quite a few guns weren't before 6.0. It lost that specialty in the fact that when 6.0 happened, every gun became laser pinpoint accurate. And this gun then lost that sort of specialty that it had. It's still got very nice camo, it's got great mobility, armour that surprises you, and that's because the upper plate is very well sloped, so it actually gets you a lot of ricochets that you don't expect, which is nice for the Progetto 65. It's got a 4-shot auto-reloading clip, which means it can either fire all 4 in a row, or 2 in a row, or 3 in a row. You know, it can fire what it wants, like an autoloader, but it can actually just fire single shot if it wants to, and keep a clip loaded for when it wants to clip something out, which is always that nice flexibility that the auto-reloaders have. But the sad thing for the Progetto 65 is the fact that compared to most other medium tanks, its DPM was always absolute trash, so it struggled to keep up with the damage output of a lot of the medium tanks, and especially when 6.0 happened and all the DPMs went through the roof, it still had that bit of a problem. Now, a lot of the other medium tanks and heavies and stuff that had 400 alpha, a lot of them have gone up to either 420 or 440 alpha, and this is still down at 360. But when they moved up to 420 or 440 alpha, they didn't get a DPM buff. Their DPM effectively stayed the same, but they got higher alpha, whereas this thing has kept the 360 alpha, but it's actually got buffed in that recent patch, which means it's actually got better DPM now, which is nicer. Still not fantastic compared to all the other medium tanks, but it's nicer. So what did get buffed on the Progetto 65? Well, they buffed the rotation speed on the turret from 36 degrees a second to 40, so it turns its turret a lot faster now than it did before. And the reload went from 13 seconds, 15 seconds, 17 seconds, and 19 seconds to 12, 14, 16, and 19. If you're wondering why there's no 19 seconds on there, it's because they basically didn't change the 19 seconds. They made it, if you fire that last shell, it really does punish you. But they made the reload on the other shells better. That's the way that they've worked that. So your reload is definitely a lot better now than it was, but it's still quite slow. I mean, an 8.75 second reload on the best reload I can get on this vehicle for 360 alpha, when quite a few of the 440s are reloading for about 6.5 seconds. Yeah, that's pain. But you do have the ability to do that, which is the flexibility that can be nice for the Progetto 65. It's just one of those trade-offs that you got to go question, is it worth it, you know? Yeah, it is what it is. So the Progetto 65, it has a 65 km/h top speed, a 23 km/h reverse speed, 750 horsepower engine, which is 18.75 horsepower per ton ratio, which means it flies to its top speed very, very well. It is a very mobile medium tank, which is lovely. 10% internal fire chances on the low end of fire chances, and it doesn't get set on fire that often, which is nice. 1.75 on soft, 1.01 on medium, and 0.83 on firm, means that it doesn't hold it back whatsoever on those terrain resistances. 54 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means it does turn very quickly on its tracks, which is, again, helps the mobility of this tank feel absolutely exceptional. 274 meters of still concealment with 284 meters of on-the-move concealment is also very nice for the Progetto 65, which means that you can stay unspotted in quite a few situations like you've already seen in this game. 512 meters of view range as well helps it to spot for itself quite nicely. 43.44 degrees a second on the turret traverse is now faster than it ever used to be, and it's still way slower than the tracks, so you do have to bear that in mind with the Progetto 65, that the turret will struggle to keep up with the tracks. A 0.97 accuracy during rotation with a 2.14 accuracy during movement isn't the best in the universe combined. It's not terrible for saying we're not running the gun stabilizer, but it means the aim circle will bloom out a little bit. But as you're seeing in this game, and as you'll see in the other 2 replays, it's not actually that bad. And since you've got a 1.93 second aim time, it aims in really quickly as well. And a 0.27 accuracy at 100 meters means you are very, very accurate here on the Progetto 65, which is also very good for it indeed. But like I say, that's not as much of a specialty as it used to be, because it used to be the fact that this gun was just absolutely, utterly phenomenal. And then, yeah, most vehicles in the game now are just that accurate anyway. Or feel that accurate, as it were. You've got 9 degrees of gun depression, which is very flexible for the Progetto 65, making it very, very nice on a ridgeline indeed. 4 shots in this clip with a 2.5 second intra-clip reload, which means it's not the fastest in the universe to put the shells out, but it's also not the slowest. you've got a 8.75 second reload on its best reload, a 10.21 on that second shell, 11.67 on the third shell, and 13.86 on the fourth shell, which means it is a bit slow to reload these shells, especially for 360 Alpha, which can be a bit of a pain for the Progetto 65. And that adds up to 3.2k DPM according to the stats, but it doesn't really calculate auto-reloaders that well in terms of the raw DPM. And you saw that first game ended in the defeat. The sad way we ended up in that loss there, that artillery just managed to smash us on the move. Faced the 5 kills, the first class, with the 5.6k damage and the 3.4k assistance. And I think that game really did show the Progetto 65 with the camo that you can get out of it, the ability to switch between the flexibility of having the single shot and then auto-loading. That flexibility of the auto-reloading system is what makes it so special and what makes it so nice. It's just a shame that the balancing at times is absolutely horrific with the DPM and stuff. But it's still usable, and you can still have a lot of fun with the Progetto 65, and especially a lot more now that you've got that extra second off the reload. It's just, yeah, compared to a lot of the other medium tanks, it still can be awkward. It's all about your mastery of this auto-reloading system to be able to get the best out of this tank. But I wasn't finished with the statistics of the Progetto 65. In terms of the penetration, you've got 268 on the standard AP, which is fantastic, or standard APCR, I should say, which is fantastic, pens most vehicles you're going to face, and the tanks that you do struggle with, you can just load 330 pen heat rounds that will absolutely butcher most vehicles. You've also got very good HE rounds with 105mm of penetration for 440 alpha, which you don't really get to use that often because you don't really get a chance to load it that often because you don't want to spend that long reloading a HE round. I carry 4 for a clip, just in case, but yeah, generally you don't get that chance to actually ever use it. You just end up using the APCR most of the time, and then sometimes the heat rounds, right, where you really need to pen something, and you know you're going to be facing something like a mouse, Type 5 heavy, etc., that you're going to be coming against in a second. You've got 1468 meters a second shell velocity on that standard APCR, with 1,173 meters a second shell velocity on the heat rounds, which is actually pretty good for heat rounds, and 732 meters a second shell velocity on the HE rounds, so a lot slower on those HE rounds. So bear that in mind, that if you load either the heat or the HE, you're going to have to give a lot more lead than you do with the APCR to be able to hit your targets. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the Progetto 65? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, with the Advanced Loader, the Camo Net, and Optics. Optics will be able to get the 512 meters of view range so that we can spot for ourselves really effectively. The Camo Net to get that fantastic 274 meters of still concealment on this vehicle, alongside the Camouflage Expertise and the Silent Driving to get that concealment while movement down to 284, which means it really helps you to get to position without getting spotted. All 3 gun perks, because we are not running the gun stabilizer. We really want to run all 3 gun perks so that we can make sure that this gun is as fantastic as possible, so that we don't have to run the gun stabilizer, and so that we don't miss shots like that. Even with the best gun in the world, you still miss shots like that. I don't know how that missed, but hey ho. Is what it is. All 3 gun perks, yeah, make sure that you're going to make this gun as good as possible, especially since we aren't running the gun stabilizer, and so that we don't have to spend massive amounts of time aiming, because if you do not run all 3 gun perks and you don't run the gun stabilizer, the gun will be a bit of a pain because you'll have to struggle snapshotting the shots into target, right? So the more accurate you make the gun, the better. If you really don't care about the camo, you could definitely run the gun stabilizer as well, and it means you basically hit every shot ever, on the move, stationary, whatever you want, because you do have to spend a little bit more time aiming this gun when you don't run the gun stabilizer, but yeah, it's really down to you and how you prefer to play the vehicle in general. So as you've seen so far in this game, we're up to 3.3k damage. It's 9-9, so the game is still very, very much in the balance. And we've just dumped our whole clip towards that Iron Rain because he was pulling back, and I didn't think I was going to get another chance to fire at that guy. And I knew from this position here, I was going to have all the time in the world to be able to reload. Now, I'd say that if you're going to do what I just did, dump 3 shots. Don't fire that final shot, because that final shot is very punishing to be able to drop, because you do have to wait that extra 2 seconds. On average, with this clip, looking at the reload, we're averaging about 1.5 seconds in between all of the shots. 1.3 to 1.5 between first, second, and third. And then we get to the final one, and it's over 2 seconds. It's 2.2 seconds, in fact, between the third and the fourth shot. So firing that third shell, or fourth shell, sorry, is definitely very punishing, and it's something you want to do sparingly if you can, because you're going to end up stuck in a reload like we're having here, where we sit there going, oh, I've just got to wait, you know? And that can be a bit painful, especially with how fast some of the games go at times. And that's probably a pain for the Progetto 65, is sometimes the games can go really quickly for it. And because the reload is a lot slower in terms of the way its DPM is or its damage output is for the Progetto 65, it can be a royal pain to be able to keep up. Because the reason I say that the DPM calculator in the game is a bit skew-if when it comes to calculating the DPM of auto-reloaders is because generally for the damage per minute, what it does is it calculates you firing single shot until the last 6 seconds of that minute, and then it calculates you just dumping the final 3 shells of the clip, which, yeah, can give you a false reading in terms of the DPM. It's actually a lot worse than it 3.2, but yeah, there we go. So there's 2 tanks left on the enemy team. We know where one of them definitely is, and I'm pretty sure the other one is in the same place, which is up on the hill. So we've managed to get fully loaded, and we're going to go in, because I know I can take a hit from the 283 that I know is on the hill over here, and I can just get in and dump the shells. And we've got a Leopard 1 friend that's with us. The Leopard 1 managed to kill the Conqueror, so we've only got to worry about the 283. And that's it, I know I can take a hit from the 283, and I can just YOLO in, dump my clip, and the Leopard 1 can help us finish him off if he kills me, right? So we know we're going to be able to get extra sets of damage here. So at 4.7k damage, I really want to just be able to get that little bit extra. So you can see the Leopard's being hesitant with it. I just go, yeah, I can take the hit. So I'm just going to go up. We put the tracking shot in to track and pen him. I was hoping for maybe some assistance damage, which we ended up getting for 394 from the Leopard. And we managed to finish off the 283. We finished the game with the victory. 5 kills, 5.5k damage, 394 assistance damage. The second class with the 1377 basic speed. Really nice game there for the Progetto 65 on a map that's not really the best for it. Same as the Leopard had a pretty good game for saying it's not the best map for a Leopard either in Himmelsdorf. It's definitely a more heavy tank brawly map than it is a medium tank lightly armoured DPMer, which this thing's a lightly armoured camouflaged accurate sniper tank. It's not really a DPMer, but the Leopard is. The Leopard is a fantastic DPM. It's everything that this tank is, but it's got DPM as well. It just doesn't have the flexibility of being able to clip dump. But, to be honest, you'd probably trade off that to have the fantastic DPM that the Leopard has. But anyway, I digress. We're on to the third and final replay of this video. And we're on Live Oaks. So on Live Oaks, what I'm going to do is take the dip. Because especially from our spawn, if you don't take the dip, you're generally going to lose this flank. Because it's quite easy for teams to get stuck at G0, and then you get surrounded and die in a crossfire horribly. And that's because if they take the dip, they will get to H9, they can poke over and shoot you in that dip, while you're also having to face people that are at J0, poking over and shooting you in that dip, which can be a royal pain. So you have to take the dip from our spawn to be able to win this flank. So I've managed to put 2 shots out to secure a kill so far, and it's one of those things. This tank is one of those that you want to fire single shot as much as humanly possible, but when you have the ability to kill something, it's always quite nice to be able to dump the clip and kill it, which is what we did to fire those 2 shells to secure the kill. Also, sometimes it's nice to be able to put the shots out where you know you're not going to get the chance to fire again, which is what we're trying to do with this Centurion Action 10. So we've put 2 shots out. Sadly, the first one hit the turret front and bounced. The second one hit him, and then he got finished off by the T-54, and I wasn't willing to stick around and fire the last shell. I decided I just wanted to go for a full reload, or at least get a few shells into the reload here before going again, because I just didn't want to get stuck in this horrible cycle that you can get stuck in the Progetto 65, with being stuck in an awful reload cycle, and then you end up just not being able to help as much as you really want to, because, yeah, you get stuck in terrible DPM. So we have the patience there, wait for the final shot, terrible shot. We did not lead that well enough at all, and so we missed the shot on the T100LT, which is wasting the time for that reload. But we reloaded once again, and if we want to try and progress this, we want to get rid of that T100LT, because he is being a royal pain. And that was much better led, and thankfully we managed to get rid of the Soviet Tier 10 light tank, because he was being a pain for my tanks at C7, in the fact that he was constantly going over, spotting them. Which means getting rid of him leaves those guys unspotted, leaves those guys alive. If any of their team push aggressively from E2, they should hopefully then be able to shoot them from there without getting spotted too easily or dying too easily. So we're up to 1584 damage, and that FV215B is pushing out of the corner. So what I'm going to do is push into this dip, where I might be able to get shots at the FV2 on 5B, but also spot the guys at E2. So we've tracked the STB1. And I know I can kill this guy in one clip, which is exactly why I just decided to full dump the clip. I was getting rid of that tier 10 medium tank. And once again, I'm unspotted, so I know I can go get myself safe and do a full reload and have no problems whatsoever. We've got to be careful though, because their heavies are winning the town, so we need to be able to get this clip in and then get spotting those guys that will be camping at E2. And as you're seeing, they are shooting my heavy tank. So you know what? We're going to, even though we're reloading, we're going to go poke up through this bush and see if we can poke over, not get spotted ourselves, and spot the guys on that hill, which is exactly what we've done. Hello, Mr. Tortoise and E4. But as we poke over, we poked a little bit too far over, and while we were still in the bush, we actually got spotted by the FV2 on 5B. But we're fully loaded, and once again, we want to get rid of the FV2 on 5B. He's a DPM monster. If we don't get rid of him, he's probably going to kill everything. But sadly, we bounce off the side of his turret. I penned that a second ago. Okay, game, sure. So I'm going to wait for this second shell to come back in, and then I'm going to put the shot in to be able to kill him. Again, he's got such good DPM, I cannot leave him alive. I'm going to take a hit from him otherwise. So we have to poke over, put 2 shots in, and finish him off and go back into this terrible reload. We had no other choice there. We just got absolutely done by terrible RNG. And yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes that happens. I still can't believe I bounced off the side of that FV2 on 5B's turret, but there we go. We're back in this bush. Again, I can't fire at this E4, but I can spot it. And that's what we're doing. So I'm just watching what's going off. I can shoot the 705A, who's pressuring my TD. If he gets into a position where maybe he will be a one-shot for me or one clippable with whatever shells I've got in, again, I will do it because we need to get guns out of the game. We need to get damage on the board. We're up to 3.7k damage with 4 kills, but yeah, my team is absolutely collapsing right now, and we've only managed to do as much as we can do within our reload specs. So we spot the Griller. Put a shot straight through the turret of the Griller, putting him down to a 2-shot, but we are detected, and that's because the IS-4 is in the middle. He's still looking at me. I know I'm probably going to take a hit here, but with the IS-4 where he is, I decide, okay, I'm going to dump the clip, because I need to put him down to a position where he's a one-shot for my TD that's at H8. Now, obviously, I'd love to get the kill, but we need to just get guns out. We need to put people in positions where they are going to be killable for my teammates, which is what we did. He's now a one-shot for the TD. He's a one-shot for me. I can now run away because that position is just untenable. This position here at H5 is just untenable now. I need to go because that 705A's pressuring us. The IS-4 is still there. There could be anything else around where those guys are, and we are out in the open in the middle of the map. And if they are where the IS-4 is or up on the hill, they can shoot me and they won't get spotted. So we needed to get ourselves safe somewhere else. And from this train track area, from this flank, we should be able to get better shots out to be able to get rid of these people. So I think it's the 4005. I assume it's the 4005 or it's a Jagdpanzer. One of the two hits that E4 very, very hard and puts him down to a 2-shot for me. So again, I drop the clip. We'll drop 2 shells out of this clip, secure our 5th kill of this game onto that E4. Something starts capping though, and again, I can't leave something in that base. We know where the 705A is. He's a 2-shot for us, but he's in a perfect position for me to not be able to get shots in. The Griller 15 we saw shoot from over there as well, so we know the Griller 15 is in that direction. So I was just keep riding the tracks there in the hope that maybe I spotted something in the middle, but we didn't. And we're going to go close down the cap so that we can spot it for our Jagdpanzer friend who is up here, but also try and stop them capping from that position too. So we catch out the heavy tank in the middle. I'm going to see if I can get a shot into Mr. 705A, but with the train tracks here and the way the ledge is, I can't quite get a shot down that low into the position he's in. And then there's a Jagdpanzer as well. So I really wanted to get rid of the... I really wanted to get rid of that 705A, but I just couldn't get the gun under pressure. We know there's a TD in the middle of the Jagdpanzer. We know that the 705A is over there. But once again, there's a 40-second countdown now for whatever is in the cap. So we have to go reset it. I have to spot it. I have a Jagdpanzer E100, he can get this guy. So I aim up for the lower plate, put 1 shot in. He's now a 2-shot for me still, put a 2nd shot in, 3rd shot to finish him off, and we secure the kill on the ST2 there, putting us up to 6 kills with 6.5k damage, 2.5k assistance. And with the Jagdpanzer where he is, I want to try and create a crossfire. If they're going to come after this Jagdpanzer, I need to be able to, number 1, get my reload in, but number 2, get into a position where maybe I can shoot them in the side. But I also want to use these bushes here to make sure that there's nothing really coming over the BC line. So now we're 5 seconds out from the reload. I'm just keeping myself, like I say, in the position where I can support this Jagdpanzer if needs be, because otherwise it's going to be pretty awkward. There's the Guerrilla 15 though, and there's the Jagdpanzer. So we put one shot into the Jagdpanzer's upper section there, but we're not going to be able to kill that guy. I decided to fire the second shell into the 705A's lower plate, but it ricochets. And naturally, I get spotted, and he instantly snapshots me. And that's what I'm talking about with the accuracy and the way that it is for tanks like Progetto 65. That kind of accuracy used to be the Progetto 65's speciality. But, you know, like the 705A you've just seen there, 152mm gun that's not that accurate in general, just instantly snaps you like that on the move. That's the way it is, and that's why this tank lost its speciality in the accurate gun. But hey-ho, I was spotted going down the zero line, going up towards our cap. I decide, okay, screw it, I'm going to run the other way. I know I'm going to take a hit from the Guerrilla, but I know I'm going to shut him down, which we do. I'm now a one-shot for the STRV-103B, because he's had his alpha buff to 420, but I've just got to keep running. I had to switch to heat rounds, because I've only got one round of APCR left. I need to load a clip if I need to. And we've just got to keep ourselves running, get away from this STRV-103B if I can, so that we can try and isolate the Jagdpanzer and maybe the other TD as well. But he gets over the ridge, he shoots us because he's had his siege mode time activation buffed as well, so it only takes him like half a second to get into that, so he was instantly able to get into a siege mode and just snap a shot and kill us. And so we ended up dying there, and we finished with the 7 kills, 7.5k damage, the 2.5k assist, the Ace Tanker Devastator Top Gun Defender medal for 1124 base XP. A really sad loss there in the Progetto 65, which was one that we just had some unlucky bounce. Like the bounce on that 705A was a little bit sad, because we were so close there to picking up the 8th kill if we'd killed the Guerrilla as well. But hey-ho, it is what it is. And we finished the game with a very nice total for the Progetto 65, which is still a pretty fun tank to play. The auto-reloading system is pretty fun. It's just one that you've really got to get to grips with. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!